Tell me if you want to leave. This is the greatest show. Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. Hope you're doing very well. It's Chelsea against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup semi-final to decide who will play against Liverpool in the FA Cup final after their demolition job on Manchester City yesterday. And I do say demolition job because I know to the untrained eye 3-2 makes it sound like it was close. But I think at 3-0 we all fully are aware that Liverpool basically took their foot off the pedal, and that's what happened in that one. So yeah, very good win for Liverpool yesterday. I suppose the favourites Chelsea. I'm just looking at this. I remember this game vividly. 1991, Crystal Palace against Liverpool. It was an absolutely brilliant semi-final. I believe it was at Selhurst Park, which I don't know why it would be at Selhurst Park. Maybe it was at Villa Park. Is it Villa Park? I'm thinking Selhurst Park because of Crystal Palace, but it was an absolutely brilliant FA Cup semi-final. And yeah, Palace obviously went on to the final. They won 4-3. Played Manchester United, and Manchester United won the final in 1991. So look, hopefully we'll get another cracker of it was Villa Park, says Carl. Thank you very much. But it was an absolutely brilliant game. Ian Wright was a Crystal Palace player back then. Mark Bright, John Solarco. Give us a quick Oasis first, Mark, says Reese. But it was not 1991, it was 1990 actually. Yes, it was 1990. I don't know why I thought 91. How about Ajax today, Mark? Says, yeah, hopefully they will win. Hopefully they will win. Playing PSV. We'll keep an eye on PSV against Ajax as well. This is on ITV in the UK as well. Are you feeling better, Mark? Says Des. No. I tell you, I've just literally just been for a walk for half an hour and I feel like I've run a marathon. It's ridiculous. I've never had anything like this before. I don't think I'll probably get much sympathy for it, but yeah, I just feel absolutely exhausted. I've only been for a walk around the block for like half an hour with Seb on his scooter. I wasn't on the scooter. I was begging to get on it by the end, but no, and I was literally just walking. It's been dilapidating or whatever they call it. Absolutely knackered. So yeah, I've not seen a doctor because I think the doctors are busy enough without this. But yes, feeling just tired. So, but looking forward to this game. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. Chelsea obviously out of the Champions League. We did the watch along for that on some day. I'm not going to guess what day it was because I can't remember. But they've got to bounce back, Chelsea, haven't they? Their only opportunity to win a trophy now is the FA Cup. I think at the start of the season they might have wanted more than that, but ultimately I think in relation to Chelsea their problem has been Lukaku. You spend £100 million on a striker and he doesn't deliver. That's always going to be a big blow, isn't it? I mean, look, we spent £80 million on Harry Maguire. It's not great, but he wasn't meant to score loads and loads of goals. Chelsea spent £100 million on Romelu Lukaku, and he's bailed on the club, hasn't he? So it's. But look at this atmosphere here. Crystal Palace are loving this. I'm loving the flags. I'm loving the atmosphere. I've seen all the build-up outside Wembley. Absolutely fantastic. We've not seen scenes like this in an FA Cup semi. It has got 80s, late 80s, early 90s vibes to it, really. It's great. Crystal Palace, obviously a massive game for them. Recently watched Crystal Palace against Arsenal. I thought they were fantastic. So I think they could give Chelsea a game. Mark, I want Crystal Palace to win instead of having another Chelsea versus Liverpool final again, says Slippy. It would be nice to see Crystal Palace win. Of course it would. But I'm not so sure that they will. I think it's a difficult game for them. But we'll go through the team news anyway as the players come onto the pitch. Chelsea start with Mendy in goal, Azpilicueta, Christensen and Rudiger, James and Alonso as their fullbacks, with Jorginho and Kovacic, Werner, Mount and Havertz. So a strong Chelsea side there. Kante is on the bench with Lukaku, who's back on the bench. He wasn't there for the game against Real Madrid. Pulisic is on the bench, Loftus-Cheek, Ziyech, Thiago Silva as well. In relation to Crystal Palace, Butland in goal, Ward, Anderson, Gueye, Mitchell, Schlupp, Koyate, McCarthy, Izzy, Mateta and Zaha. So no place for Conor Gallagher, obviously, because he's cup-tied. If they got to the final, he'd be able to play, but he can't play. No, he's not cup-tied. He just can't play against his... He's not cup-tied at all. He just can't play against Chelsea because it's his parent club. So no starting place for him, which is a bit of a shame. They have got options on the bench. And remember, this game could go to extra time, of course, if it is a draw after 20 minutes. Not 20 minutes, 90 minutes. So I'm going to do a poll for you so you can decide who you think is going to win. So it's called a result poll. Result poll. Result poll. We'll go Chelsea win, draw, and then a Palace win. They really are the three things. There we go. I am on the United stand at 8 o'clock tonight. Yeah, it is a forum, but I'm on it. So yeah, we are on there. We get rid of Reese. Bye, Reese. Thank you very much. And United winning the game against Leicester and Everton ended their chances for top four. I never thought United would get in top four, Dave, so I don't really have a lot to say about that. Some other Premier League results today, actually, just thinking about United. Burnley getting a draw at West Ham's a really good result for United. I don't think we're in a race for fourth. I think we're in a race for fifth and sixth. Therefore, fifth and sixth is a battle with West Ham as well. So West Ham drawing at home to Burnley is 2 points drop for them. So that's a good result for United. Newcastle beating Leicester as well. Big result for Leicester. So big result for Leicester, yes, but massive result for Newcastle. Leicester obviously focusing in on the Conference League now. And I don't know how the Conference League looks, actually. I've not looked at that, but let's have a look at the Conference League and I'll tell you who's in that. I mean, obviously Leicester are in it with their win against the... So Feyenoord play Marseille and Leicester play Roma starting a week on Thursday. So it's Mourinho against Rodgers in the Conference League. So you'd expect the winners probably to come from that as well. I don't think Feyenoord or Marseille would really be fancying their chances against Leicester or Roma. So yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about Leicester. We're not even watching Leicester. So we're about ready to start the game here. Which way do you think it's going to go? Most people are saying with Chelsea in the poll, which is absolutely fine. I think Chelsea will win. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Chelsea. I actually thought Chelsea played very, very well in the Bernabeu, but they unfortunately just lost out to a ridiculous pass by Modric, which tipped the momentum back towards Real Madrid. And obviously they went out after what was... I mean, they went out because of their performance at Stamford Bridge. I thought they were fantastic in Spain. Anthony Taylor is the referee here. Be warned, Chelsea fans. I mean, I just... Look, well done. When I see Anthony Taylor, I just say, well done. You're winning at life by being shit, really. I think you are a crap ref. And I don't like to say that, but lots of people say it about me. Not that I'm a crap ref, but I'm crap at other things. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a critique, and I think he's a bad referee. I don't know why. The Premier League have always seemed to have this consistency of picking what I think is the worst referee in England as the representative of England. I mean, they've done it with Clattenburg in the past. Now they're doing it with Anthony Taylor. He's the one that they send to the World Cup and stuff. I think they send him off to get rid of him. I think he's a crap referee. He's the only, actually, just talking about FA Cup, I've been doing watch-alongs for years. United watch-alongs, non-United games on here as a watch-along. I've only ever stopped a watch-along once. And that was not a United game. It was the Chelsea-Arsenal FA Cup final. And I switched it off with 20 minutes to go because I'd never seen such a crap refereeing performance in my life. I had to just turn it off. I couldn't stick with it. I was absolutely stunned by it, to be honest with you. So yes, not a massive fan of Anthony Taylor myself, but let's hope he doesn't have a massive part to play in the game. If Crystal Palace perform like they did against Arsenal, I believe they can put pressure on Chelsea, says Slippy. Yeah, they're more than capable of doing it. Thanks for the super chat, Slippy. Do you know what channel the Ajax game is on, says Gwydion. I don't actually know what channel the Ajax game is on. I don't think it's on any domestic TV. So I think you'd have to go on the internet to try and find it. But I'm sure you'll get some updates in here. Callum says, Zaha Masterclass loading. I think it's a 5 PM kickoff as well for Ajax versus PSV as well. So, how are we all doing anyway? Des, you're going to be at least an hour behind because you blocked, mate. Thanks for the knobhead chat that adds absolutely nothing to do with it. You can put your little message in there, but you're gone. Bye. I've told people so many times about stuff like that. And you're gone as well, Leicester lads. I don't know what that even means, but you're gone. Not messing around today. We either have a good conversation or we don't. Simple as that. So, how are we doing? We're up and running here. We've got the game on. Chelsea are in down the right hand side here. Actually, Crystal Palace are in down the right hand side. Christensen, I thought, was a striker. What did you eat today? Oh, don't talk to me about food. I just got no energy. You know what? I've got no energy. I'm fed up of just having to lie on my bed, like watching TV. I'm so drained. I've never had an illness like this. And I'm not saying it's the worst illness I've had. It's just so, shouldn't be getting it. Like I thought the vaccines and everything were like meant to be stopping all this. I can't believe how bad I've had it. I mean, if the vaccine makes you get it like this, God, I'm glad I had the vaccine because it's been fucking horrible. We've just got no energy at all. I will be doing Watchalong next week, yeah. And you can. I hope Palace don't get hammered, says Kieran. Yeah, I don't think this game's going to be as interesting, high scoring. Sorry, hopefully it will be as interesting, but I don't think it'll be as high scoring as the game between Manchester City and Liverpool yesterday. I mean, that game, I've not really had a chance to talk about it really because yesterday was obviously United were playing and there was a few other things going on. I really didn't get a chance to. Just Seth says, I'm starting to worry about Newcastle. What if they storm past us? Well, they won't be doing it this season, just Seth. We've got 54 points. Newcastle aren't going to do that. And not this season, but maybe next season. But I think that the result between Liverpool and Manchester City yesterday was well, what did you think about it? I wasn't actually that surprised because you saw the team that Klopp put out against Benfica in a Champions League quarter-final, and he nearly put his sort of backup team out, and they then basically put their strongest team out yesterday, and Pep Guardiola basically put his backup team out, and then the 3-0 down in no time, and I'm like, I think Pep basically, well, I agree with what Liam says there. Pep was basically asking for it. You can't do that. It would have been great if it had worked for him, but you can't go up against Liverpool's strongest team with your backup team. And it's not really about ability. It's also about rhythm, isn't it? And chemistry. These players just getting thrown in against the strong Liverpool team that's got rhythm. It was an accident waiting to happen, and it happened. I mean, in many ways, I feel like Pep. I don't know. He probably, Pep's a very clever guy. He probably was fully aware of the risk that they were basically giving up the FA Cup. And obviously, he's very focused on winning the Champions League, and they are favourites to win the Premier League. So, from a United point of view, it's great. Man City can't win the treble again. Liverpool still could. And United are playing Liverpool on Tuesday night. I don't give as much chance in that game, to be honest with you. But I still think Man City are favourites for the league, looking at the fixtures they've got remaining. And, both teams have got very difficult semi-final. Well, maybe Liverpool haven't got a difficult semi-final. Bye-bye. You're gone. Not even gonna shout your name. If I see it, you're gone. If you're a twat, you're gone. Simple as that. And you won't even know you're gone. That's the best thing, because I can still see you typing in the chat now, but it says, was hidden by That's Football. So you're still... I love that. Absolutely love it. You get someone coming in with a bit of abuse, and then you block them, but it says their comment's been hidden, but then they keep on doing it, thinking they're still doing it, but they don't know, because it still allows them to type. The great thing about YouTube is it still lets you type, and you still think you're putting your chat up when you've actually been blocked. So it's brilliant. I love the way they do it. Rooney or Maguire, not talking about that. Have Chelsea played a strong team, says Ava. Yeah, I think that they have. They have to, don't they? It's their last chance of getting a trophy, really. Well, it is their last chance of getting a trophy, and I think Chelsea's season, as I say, look, as an outsider, I don't know what Chelsea fans think. As an outsider, You've obviously had all the Abramovich stuff as well going on, and obviously that's very difficult to deal with for anybody. But I also think that the Lukaku thing has been very difficult as well, and I don't think that you can underplay that. I mean, look at Manchester United. I mean, we've had a bad season, and you've had people. Ronaldo's the problem. Like, Ronaldo has won us 6 points in the last month alone. He's against Spurs at home, hat-trick, we were crap. And yesterday, hat-trick, we were crap. So, and there are plenty of other plenty of other games where Ronaldo's made an impact. So, I think that, you know, you've got to look at it from Chelsea's perspective and think, well, look, they spent £100 million on a striker that should be doing what Ronaldo's doing for United, which is winning your games, and you're carrying him, really. So I think Chelsea's big problem is that they've just not progressed from last season, whereas some teams have progressed. Like Liverpool last year obviously had a lot of injury problems. I think Chelsea are the same team they were last year. And if they'd have got a little bit lucky in Spain, they would have been in a Champions League semi-final. They've been to a Carabao Cup final that they lost on penalties. They're in an FA Cup semi-final. So their season's not bad. It's just not been the season that I think they would have expected, because that Lukaku money, you may as well have burnt it. It's been a waste of time. Do I think Haaland will join Man City? Says Gigi. I think out of all the places that Haaland is not looking to go to, that Haaland may go to, I do think Chelsea's quite a... it's not Chelsea. I do think Man City's quite likely. Mark, when will Ten Hag be confirmed? Says Nathan Harper. I don't know. I'll produce that fact out my arse, shall I? I don't know. On a serious note, I don't know. I think that... I don't know. I just said that realistically they've got the cup final today and they've got to win the league title. The league title is more important than the cup. So I don't think it's going to be tomorrow or Tuesday. I think as soon as they've won the league or the league has been resolved, then maybe that's when it will get sorted. This game has got a good bite to it at the moment. Both teams pushing each other, but that's strong play by Chelsea. Crystal Palace have got to play the game and not the occasion. Werner's in the box here. Lots of very deep line by Crystal Palace, I've noticed. And a whipped cross by Mount, which finds its way into the hands of Jack Butland in goal. But they're playing a deep line, Crystal Palace. I've noticed that. Am I doing a preview for the Liverpool game? No, I thought I'd leave it, mate. Have we just got idiots questions coming out? I mean, I know it's Easter and people have probably been eating a lot of chocolate and they're feeling lethargic, but come on, you know, I don't feel great anyway. Can we get some good questions in the chat? It's Spence who plays for Forest Simulation Sim, and I think he's a good player. Bayern Munich are interested in him. What's wrong with Leicester this season, says Toby? Well, they have just played on Thursday night. I think it's very obvious, isn't it? West Ham... I mean, look, I'll keep talking about this, and some people just don't want to give it the respect it deserves, but I'm telling you, if you go into... Kovacic has just slid and gone down there. I hope that's not a bad injury for him. If you look at... We say it every single season. If you look at at this time of the season, when you start... It's April. Basically, April is what screws your league form. If you're in a tournament playing on a Thursday night in April, you're screwed. Connor, I'm scared what Liverpool do to us on Tuesday. West Ham, massive result on Thursday night. Drop points today. Leicester, massive result away against PSV on Thursday night. Lose today. It's impossible to consistently pick up points on a Sunday when you're playing Thursday night, when they're big games like that, because it takes a lot out of you. back end of the season. So we've seen West Ham drop points today, and we've seen Leicester drop points today as well. So I think that's what it's all about. Leicester's priority is not the Premier League anyway. It's the Conference League, which will get them into the Europa League, which is not going to happen for them in relation to league form at all anyway, is it? I mean, you look at the league table, and Leicester are currently down in 9th place. If you want to be in the Europa League, you've got to finish 6th, and they're nowhere near it. They've got 40 points. So Leicester's league form isn't really anything to write home about, because nothing's going to happen with that. I mean, I think Brighton have done quite well recently. 2 wins away, Arsenal and Spurs, knocks them up to 40 points. There is a bit of I think from 9th, where you've got Leicester on 40 points, down to Villa, who've got 36 points. So you've got 4 points separating, 5 places? 6 places. So, yeah, it's interesting. Mark, can you call my mate Lewis? No, I can't call him that, Tommy. And do you think Deitch will get another job in the Premier League? Says Skywalk. I don't know. Don't really understand what's happened with Deitch, really. I find it a bit odd. In honesty, I don't really understand why they've got rid of him. I mean, they've got a big game next week against Wolves. But, he's I suppose the players have just turned against him, haven't they? I mean, I don't know why you'd get rid of Sean Dyche with a handful of games away to stay up, but I don't know when Chilwell's back, EOR. If anyone in the chat, let us know. Let me just close this poll off, actually. So, 59% of you have gone with a Chelsea win, 8% have gone with a draw, 33% have gone with a Palace win. And the way the game has started, where's Zane, says Gwydion? The way the game has started, you'd say that it's probably going to be... it's looking in favour of that with Chelsea at the moment. I wouldn't say they're dominating Palace, but they look focused, Chelsea. And obviously they know that this is They want to repeat at the Carabao Cup final, which has happened a few times. How many times has this happened? There's one that massively jumps out to me. The League Cup or Carabao Cup, whatever you want to call it, being the same finalists as the FA Cup. I don't know whether this is the only time it's happened before, but I remember it happening in 1993. Sheffield Wednesday and Arsenal played the Carabao Cup against each other, or whatever it was called then, and then they played the FA Cup against each other. What back short four should we play against Liverpool, says Nat. I'm not talking about Man United, mate. And who do you think is going to get top 4? I think Spurs are still favourite, but can't lose anymore. But does depend on how Man United and Arsenal do, says Studios. Well, I don't think Man United are going to get top 4. I'm just... the thing that's pleased me this weekend is that we've actually got 3 points and we might be able to get top 6. I don't think we'll get top 4. I'm quite surprised. I did want to talk a bit about Arsenal. I'm quite surprised that they've lost 3 games in a row. I mean, that is probably not going to be surprising to the Arteta crew, but I'm surprised they've lost 3 games in a row. That's not really reflective of the season they've had and the way they've been playing. I think up until the Crystal Palace game, they'd won 7 out of 8 in the Premier League, which is great. Well, they've now lost 3 in a row, which is not great. So I don't know what's gone on with Arsenal. Suffice to say, listening to what Arteta said after the game last night and watching the highlights on Match of the Day, the problem with Arsenal is that they didn't do what Spurs did in January. Spurs went and got 2 players to make them better. Arsenal basically got rid of a couple of players, and Arteta was right. You know, they had like 70-something possession, 70% possession. It was over 70% possession, load of shots, and then they lose the game 1-0, and they desperately need a goal scorer. What United past and present players have you met, says Liam. I really don't want to talk about Man United, Liam, because I've got a show at 8 o'clock. And I'm not sure who I've met loads of Man United players past and present as well. I'm not sure who I'd want to win in this game for the sole reason that we have to play Chelsea next, and I feel if Chelsea come out on top, we'll struggle. Flip the coin and they can thrive on a loss, says Chad. And Arsenal are definitely going to bottle top 4. I say United still have a chance for top 4, but we will see, says Slippy. And a good question then, if Mark Goldbridge was a Premier League player, who would he be based on these attributes, physicality, mentality and salary, says Eric. Hi Mark, what do you think of Eze as a player, and can you see a bigger club coming in for him in the summer? I don't think he'll go anywhere this summer, Colin, because I don't think Patrick Vieira is going to go anywhere this summer. So you've got a good team to play for another year. So I don't really see Eze leaving Palace this summer, but maybe the summer after. You could easily see him going to Arsenal. Will Sixth play in Europa this year since Carabao and FA Cup winners are in top four if Palace drops out? So Spencer, life is too short for me to try and figure out what you're trying to say. We had this chat yesterday on the Watchalong, and life literally is too short for me to start trying to figure out what you're talking about. Sixth place goes into the Europa League. There is no conversation about winning this, winning that. It's got nothing to do with sixth place. You're in the Europa League. There is a way it cannot happen, but it's not gonna happen. I think it's like if the Europa League winner and I don't even know what the scenario is, but basically fifth and sixth will be in the Europa League because of who won the Carabao Cup. Fifth and sixth are in the Europa League, yeah. Someone seems a bit moody today. I'm just fed up, Badger. I am. I actually thought I was turning a corner yesterday. I even put a picture on Instagram and today I just feel rubbish again. I'm just so tired. I feel like I could just sleep and sleep forever. Arsenal screwed by injuries plus no depth, says Orange. And at the first of the season, most United fans were excited because of Ronaldo, Varane, and Sancho, especially because you finished second. What went wrong? Fucking, it's turning into the United stand here. Fuda, thanks for the super chat. We didn't buy a midfielder. Simple as that. We didn't buy a midfielder. Games, I mean, we have Paul Ince on the United stand. The amount of times he's said it and he's right. Games are won and lost in the midfield. We haven't got a midfield. And you can't win. It doesn't matter who you got up front. If you haven't got a midfield, you're not going to create many chances. And yeah, simple as that. So we are not good enough in the midfield. Seventh is Conference League D. Thoughts on Newcastle winning against Leicester 2-1 today? Bruno scoring twice with a last-minute goal, and where do you think Newcastle will place? I mean, for Newcastle, I don't think it really matters, does it? I mean, I don't know whether we've got any Newcastle fans. The reality is, we should have gone down. The points tally you had on Christmas Day, there's not many teams that... I would check that stat. How many teams with that many amount of points have stayed up in Premier League history? That the reason Newcastle have stayed up is because Eddie Howe has gone and done a very, very good job. And it's not like he's bought Mbappe. He's bought good... I mean, Bruno Guimaraes is a very good player, but Chris Wood... Trippier's injured. The Brighton lad at the back. He's just bought players that have just made them more of a team, and he's coached them well as well. And Newcastle form under Eddie Howe is very, very good. How high they finish in the Premier League, I don't think it really matters. Trusty says he's a Newcastle fan. I don't think it really matters how high you finish in the league. I mean, I suppose as a fan it does. If you can be like that crap points tally you had at Christmas and finish 9th, because you could finish 9th, that makes a very, very good season, does it? But it's the interesting thing for Newcastle is what they're going to do next season. You're not going to get European football this year, but I'm interested to see what Newcastle can do next year, because you just go spending money, don't you? And it's about what sort of player you can get at the club. So, yeah, very interested to see what Newcastle do in the summer. They will be competing, and they won't be able to compete with Chelsea and Liverpool and Man City, but they will be able to compete with the Europa League clubs and the Conference League clubs, because they'll be saying our intention is to be doing that within a year, and here's the money for you to come and we will pay those wages. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do. Yeah, definitely. I think Arsenal will get the conference or Europa, to be honest. Our problem is up front. I can't call fourth spot. Everyone in the running is too inconsistent, says Chod. Well, I do want to talk about top four, but I want to just keep you up to date with the game. So we're 21 minutes in here, and they're quite evenly matched. Palace have done well. Chelsea, they're quite evenly matched, really. I think Chelsea are doing a little bit more pushing, but as I said, it's not going to have the goals that yesterday had. Hope we finish Conference League spots next season, says Trusty, who's a Newcastle fan. But in the race for top 4, I think that it's... I mean, I was looking at the league table before. So you got Spurs on 57 points and you got Man United on 54 points, and they've both played 32 games. You then got Arsenal on 54 points, but they've got a game in hand on Spurs. So if they were to win that game in hand, they'd have the same amount as Spurs. But their game in hand is on Wednesday against Chelsea. We'll be doing a watch-along for that here. Tuesday night, it's Liverpool United. That'll be on United Stand. You've then got West Ham on 52 points, but they've played a game more than Manchester United. And you've got... but obviously that game in hand is Liverpool for United, so that will be a loss. And then you've got Wolves, who've got 49 points, and they're currently 5 points behind United. So the race for top 4 really comes down to, I don't think West Ham will be able to do it because they've played more games and they've got... obviously they're going to focus on the Europa League. That's the best thing they can focus on. If you're David Moyes, you've got a league game and then you've got a Europa League game. You're going to try and keep your players more fresh for the Europa League game, aren't you? So I don't see West Ham being in the race for top 4. Wolves are too far behind. I mean, they're 8 points off 4th place and there's only 6 games to go. So they're out of it. Which leaves you basically with Tottenham, Man United and Arsenal, who are separated by 3 points. Arsenal have got to play Spurs. That game is massive. Man United's running. We've got Liverpool and Arsenal away. We've got to play Chelsea at home. We've got to play Palace away, Brighton away, and Brentford at home. So the form United are in, I think we'd do well to take... How many games we've got left? 6 games left. I think United will do well to take 12 points, which would give us 66. Yeah, I don't think that'll be enough. I really don't. 66 points might be enough. I don't think it will be enough because Spurs have got 57. They've got Brentford away next Saturday. That'll be difficult. But if they win that, that gives them 60. They've then got Leicester at home, who obviously that's sandwiched in between their Conference League semi-final against Roma. So you'd fancy them to win that. That's 63 points. They won't beat Liverpool away. Arsenal at home, maybe it's a draw, 64. Burnley at home, maybe it's a draw, 65. Norwich last game of the season. They probably win that. So I can see Spurs getting 68 points. But there is slippage there. Mark, everyone comments seem off topic, so I'll hit you with mine. Should I buy a tractor with a cracked cylinder for £1,000? Hope you get better soon, says Sean Atwood. I think you should buy the tractor, yeah. So 68 points for Spurs, presuming they beat Brentford next week. 66 points for United maximum. So that would put Spurs ahead of United. You've then got Arsenal, who've got Chelsea away, which I think they will lose, which will keep them on 54 points. Then they've got United, which I think might be a draw, 55 points. West Ham away on Sunday. I think they might draw that one, 56 points. Leeds at home, I think they'll win that, 59. Spurs away, I think they'll draw 60. Newcastle away, hard to tell. Everton at home, let's say they win that, 63. So I think Arsenal are just massively unpredictable. I think Spurs will get 4th place. Kovacic is coming off here. I think he did it when he turned his ankle when he was running through. So Kovacic comes off in the 25th minute here. But who do you think is going to get top 4? We'll run a poll on this, actually. Who gets top 4? It's funny because I predicted Spurs a month ago and I got laughed at. So who's going to get top 4? Get in the votes. Do you see more oil money coming into the Prem in the next few years? Do you think more could be done by other clubs to stop Newcastle like takeovers, says Skywalk? I mean, the honest answer to that is, well, why shouldn't another club get taken over by an oil money owner? Because Man City have got it. Why should they be the sole beneficiaries? I did say Spurs would get top 4, so I'm not a liar. You can check the video out. I did a prediction video, didn't I, about a month ago, and Spurs had more points. But I don't know. Did anyone watch the Spurs-Brighton game yesterday? Were Spurs crap? I don't know. Spurs-Arsenal will have a massive part to say in it, really. But United have got a tough run in because we've got Chelsea to play, we've got Liverpool to play, and we've got Arsenal away as well. Thoughts on Bayern being out of the Champions League, says Trusty. Bayern? Out of the Champions League? When? When did that happen? Slow Sports News there, Trusty. And ultimately, I think Bayern Munich and PSG, they never shock me when they get to the final. They never shock me if they get knocked out. They play in a league which is not competitive enough. I've been saying this for years and years and years, and I'll keep saying it. They may well be able to win the Champions League. Bayern Munich have done it themselves, but it's so hard to predict how good they are because they play in a league that is just completely easy for them. And I think that they lose out because of that sometimes. They look really good. What happens with La Liga and the Premier League in March and April? Look what happened. Look what's happening with Liverpool and Man City. They're fighting each other to the death for the title, and then they go and play Benfica and it's a piece of piss, and they go and play Atletico Madrid in a battle and they're up for it. I think the problem with Bayern Munich and PSG is that they play in leagues that are quite uncompetitive, so it makes it difficult for them to, when the going gets tough, be up for it. I think sometimes. They got out by Villarreal, says Trusty. They did, you're right. Spurs were absolutely terrible yesterday, says Gwydion. I don't trust them at all, down to the head-to-head games, says Gwydion. We were absolutely abysmal, says Matt Hayes, Tottenham blog. No cutting edge at all. Brighton looked comfortable. I'd have accepted a draw. No top four for us. But you know what? You were favourites for top four yesterday morning, so I really appreciate that from two Spurs fans, because I've heard it from Arsenal fans as well. But I've been saying it, and Man United, thanks for the super chat, Vicious Binman. I've been saying it, and many United fans have been saying it for 3 or 4 months. We, Manchester United, we don't deserve top four. We've been atrocious this season. It's an embarrassment if we get 4th place. Of course, I'll take it, but we don't deserve top 4. It worries me if we do get top 4, because these players would walk out this season like they've achieved something. It's an absolute embarrassment that and this is true. The team that gets top 4 will be the team that's the least shittest, not because they deserve it. I mean, look at some of the results Spurs have dropped. Look at some of the results. Oh, Sahar was nearly in there. Nearly in again. Ends up with Mendy. Arsenal have just lost 3 games in a row. They lost their first 3 games of the season in a row. Spurs, I don't even understand how they're back in the top 4 race at times, and then they're winning it and then they lose. I remember Spurs when they had Southampton at home and Wolves at home, and they got played off the park in both of them, and then the favourites for 4th place again. Arsenal, as I say, 3 games in a row, lost. They're still in a race for top 4. Man United, I can't believe we're in a race for top 4. We are absolutely terrible. So it's very difficult, isn't it, to it's very difficult to get your head around it as to who deserves top 4, because ultimately nobody does. Nobody does. Yeah. Let me see if we can get it on here. I'm gonna keep an eye on the Ajax match as well. Gaz Elliott says the game's a bit crap. Yeah, I think if you're a Palace fan, I'd be quite happy, because I think it's sort of going to plan, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, loving the content, says Man City fan. I bet you're not loving the result yesterday. I'll be absolutely honest, I'm really flippant when it comes to Man City and Liverpool. I have to be tactical. I don't know whether anyone else is like this, but as a United fan, I have to be tactical. So I wanted Liverpool to win yesterday. I now want Man City to win the league. I'm just basically tactically trying to avoid a treble. So Man City can't win a treble now, so I don't really care if they win the league. And if they win the league, then Liverpool can't win a treble either. So that's sort of where I'm at with this now. So Man City, I didn't want you to win yesterday. Now I do want you to win all your league games, and in the Champions League, I want you both to lose. But yeah, I don't know whether the Ajax game is on TV. Somebody mentioned ESPN. I'm just going to sort of do a little bit of searching now and see what I can find. And then I'll be able to keep you updated with what's going on with that as well. Alex Pearson says they can't win the treble, but they can win a treble. Who? Liverpool can win the quadruple. Man City can only win a double now. Right, I'm going to have a look on Sky and see if we can find it on here first of all. We're still 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Chelsea. As an Arsenal fan, I think we play the best football of the three, but we don't have the goals in the team to get fourth. It's extremely frustrating. Yeah, I did feel that I'm not calling you a liar, but I do. In fact, I'm probably agreeing with you. I don't know what I'm talking about. I do feel that Arsenal looked like they were the favourites a couple of weeks ago and they deserved it. But obviously, these 3 results in a row that they've had have sort of knocked them a little bit. Dutch football is probably quite difficult to find. There's a few sort of sports things I subscribe to, but I don't think it's going to have this on. I'm going to have a look now. Would you rather win the City win the treble or have Seb be a Premier League player but he plays for Liverpool? So if he wants to play for Liverpool, I'd rather he did that. I mean, look, it's not my responsibility as a fan to stop Man City winning trebles and stuff, is it? I don't want them to, but I do find it funny that. So we've got live netball. Lyon versus Bordeaux is on BT Sports 3. Union Berlin versus Frankfurt. Squash is on my ESPN. Jonathan can't find Ajax anywhere. Yeah, that's definitely squash. Okay. Give it to West Ham, bunch of bottlers, says Jay. And if Liverpool win the FA Cup, and since they have the Carabao, they'll have a double. And if City win the Premier League and the Champions League, then they both have a double, no treble, says Jack. There we go. So there we go. Celtics are winning the NBA. Jay, thank you very much for the chat. Right, let's have a quick look here. See if I can find anything. Never be enough. Do, 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 do. So Ajax are playing in blue, aren't they? Right, I've got it on. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. Ajax are playing in blue, PSV are playing in red. And they've just had a corner and it's been cleared away. Crystal Palace hit the good shot by Mendy, and then they've hit the post on the follow-up. I don't know whether he would have been off. Mendy with a good save, and then he follows up and hits the post. But he might have been offside there. Big chance for Palace. Chelsea looking a bit tired, says Lily. Okay, so I have got Ajax and PSV on as well. This world could change your life, but it'll never be enough. Right. Still 0-0. 36 minutes gone. Chelsea against Palace, and Ajax's game against PSV is currently 0-0 as well. They've been playing for around 8 minutes. Well. I'm sure don't know much about the Dutch Cup final, and so Ajax are playing in blue, PSV are playing in red. If anyone wants to tell us where the final's being played, I mean, one thing's very, very clear straight away if you're keeping an eye on that. There's going to be a yellow card here. Anthony Taylor's going to book Havertz. Loves booking Chelsea players. He's going to book him for diving. There we go. Anthony Taylor books Havertz for diving. I mean, the only thing I would say that is that it is rather interesting because you never see people book for diving anymore. So I've just put a tweet out about that. I mean, look, it was a dive. I've got no problem with the yellow card being done for dives, but when does a player ever get booked for diving? I mean, no wonder Anthony Taylor's not popular with Chelsea fans. Havertz has just been booked for diving. He did dive, but and I'm not got no problem with that, Ryan. He did dive, but when does a referee ever book people for diving? Now, Raheem Sterling does it every bloody game. Bruno does it. You never get booked for it. So I never see anybody getting booked for diving. It's 1-0 to PSV in the Ajax game. 1-0 PSV. They've scored. Or have they called it out? Offside. Offside. Not a goal. Not a goal. Yeah, he's off. He is off. Yeah, it's offside. Offside. Ajax nearly going 1-0 down. Still 5 minutes to go here till half time. It's actually quite nice because at half time we can keep an eye on the Ajax game as well. Just looking at the way Ajax play, look at the splitting of the centre backs. One of the midfielders drops in to make a back three. Full backs keep the width. Very interesting if you are watching this Ajax PSV game as a United fan or as a non-United fan, looking at the way United might play next season. Really don't see how Harry Maguire's going to work in a team that sends its full-backs forwards. You know, he'll be homesick. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner to do that. I don't know what we're doing in relation to subscribers, but lots of content on here for you to get involved in. Doesn't matter who you support. Everybody's welcome. In fact, we're only 70 subscribers away from 651,000. So let's see if we can hit that before half-time. Bottom right-hand corner to subscribe. The way the week is looking ahead, obviously we're doing this FA Cup semi-final here at the moment. Also, I've got Ajax versus PSV on. Good start to this game, actually. But we are definitely going to be doing the Liverpool Man United at 8 o'clock on the United stand on Tuesday night, and then at 7:45 on Wednesday night we've got Chelsea against Arsenal as a watch along for you. We'll be doing that whilst keeping an eye on the other games. Everton play Leicester, Newcastle play Palace, and Man City play Brighton. You've then got on Saturday we've got Arsenal against Man United, which will be on United stand. Big game that, and potentially probably do Brentford against Spurs on the Saturday night. Also on the Saturday night on this channel, I'll be doing Tyson Fury's fight, and then on Sunday afternoon we'll be doing the Formula One, straight away followed by Liverpool against Everton on here. So some big, not totally all football stuff coming up over the next week, but lots of things to get yourself involved in. Make sure you subscribe. How can we watch the Ajax games, is Jamie Hodgkinson. A lot of people have mentioned ESPN. ESPN Live. I don't know, a lot of people have mentioned ESPN. It actually says it on my bloody screen. ESPN Live. It's being played in Rotterdam, this game as well. Chelsea Palace has been really not the game I thought it was going to be, and it's a bit of a shame because there's so many Palace players here. Sorry, so many Palace fans here, all the flags. It looked really great at the start, but the game's not lived up to it so far. Would you rather have Pep or Jose's managerial career? Pep is still in his prime, whereas Jose isn't. But Mourinho's work with Inter and Porto is incredible, says Fanbridge. I'd rather have Pep's career because the football's better. That's it. That's it. Burnley won't go anywhere near Solskjaer. He won't get a job in the Premier League ever again. I'll be stunned. Absolutely stunned. Two minutes to go to half time. Chelsea are extremely fortunate to have Conor Gallagher out of the squad, says Anthony Johnston. Well, I think it's a difficult game for Chelsea, and I think back to cross came in for Ajax there, cleared away. I think back to the game against I think back to the games when Man United were good, and I remember it used to happen to us quite a lot. God, how I wish it happened now. You'd get knocked out in the Champions League. It used to happen to United a lot in the 90s. We'd get to semi-finals or quarter-finals and get knocked out. And you'd be really disappointed, but then you'd go and win the league. And it'd feel like a bit flat. So, Ajax games on ESPN if you want it. So, I think that for Chelsea, they're probably... I did say it when we did the watch-along the other night, didn't I? I said, I'm not a Chelsea fan. And I'm really glad I'm not, because I'd be so gutted. You're 3-0 up. No one gave you a realistic chance. You go to the Bernabeu, you're 3-0 up, and then Modric does something that's just, you can't do anything about it. I mean, I even saw Chelsea fans on Twitter the next day saying there's nothing we can do. It's like, it was just pure why we love the game. It was just unbelievable, and it happened to us when we're 3-0 up with 10 minutes to go. So they were just, I think it's disappointing for Chelsea, and they've got to try and get their heads back in the ring, haven't they? And Tuchel's not stupid, and he's probably looked at this game and gone, look, we're going to have to graft. We're going to have to be tight. Let's not make silly mistakes, and let them try and attack us a little bit. Squash is on ESPN, says Alex. Yeah, that's probably, I think ESPN have got a few channels, haven't they? It's not a goal for Palace, don't worry. Let me get rid of the idiot. Right. To be fair to Jose, he had 6 years prior to Pep. He won the Champions League with Porto and Premier Leagues with Chelsea, says Fahad. Very good manager, Mourinho. There's no doubt about that. You just know that if Ajax lose today, then you'll have rival fans constantly tweeting, you're having her in a bottler, says Lars. Well, we're nearly at half time here. Hello? Seb? Can you let the cat in? Because I can hear him meowing. Hi Mark, do you think Sean Dyche would be good for the Everton or England job? I know Burnley in the relegation battle, but I think he's done well, says Metal. Well, I'd rather have Sean Dyche than Gareth Southgate. But he's... he's not going to... That's not going to happen, is it? What are you doing? Oh, yeah. Is Kevin De Bruyne in the Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard debate? Says Rye. Well, he can't be in the debate because he's not in that era. Actually, you know what? There's something just gone off in the Ajax game here. bit of afters, yellow card, a few players running around, bit of pushing and shoving. Let's have a look. There's a yellow card. It's a lovely day in the Netherlands. It's a lovely sunny day in the Netherlands. And I think he's just booked an Ajax player. Tuchel's looking frustrated as Jemmy. And we've got a great chat at half-time. You're going to love the half-time chat. Oh, it was definitely a foul. It was definitely a foul there. And he has been booked. This is not in the Chelsea game, by the way. This is the Ajax game. Martinez just got booked. We have got a game. We've got a fantastic debate for you at half time, and I'm actually going to say this, that it was going to be Scholes, Lampard, or Gerrard, but I'm actually going to chuck in De Bruyne into the conversation just to give it a little bit of a topical twist. It's half time in the Crystal Palace against Chelsea game, and it's not been a very good semi-final at all. It's been very, very cagey affair, hasn't it? There's nobody really wants to commit, which is a shame. Boring is the word. Yeah, I'd agree with you. Reds march going on. Liverpool quadruple incoming, says Mike. And can you get the Ajax versus PSV score on the right-hand side, Mark? No, I can't. But I can keep you updated with what's going on. Right, we did do a poll in the first half. Who gets top four? Spurs got 51% of the vote. Arsenal got 15% of the vote. And Manchester United got 34% of the vote. So Spurs top four, according to 51% of you. And this game between Ajax and PSV is end-to-end at the moment. It really is end-to-end. I'm going to put another poll up for you, and then the half-time chat is going to be it. And I must give a shout-out to the person in the chat who suggested De Bruyne for this. Who is the best, yes or no? I've ended that poll, don't worry. Right, let me get this right. Is the best. Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard. It's the question of our time with a modern twist. So, who is the best? Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard, or De Bruyne? You can get involved in that in the chat. And who had a worse season, 80 million Maguire or 100 million pounds Lukaku, says Anthony Johnson? Well, Lukaku's had the worst season because this is not Harry Maguire's debut season. He's been here 2 years. So for me, Lukaku is 100% the worst of the two because he's been a complete and utter waste of time. That should have been a penalty for Ajax. No, it wasn't. It was a dive. He should have been booked. Maybe, yeah, okay. So yeah, look, half-time, 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Chelsea. Not been a great half. It's still 0-0 between Ajax and PSV after 20 minutes. We'll keep you updated with that. And we've got a bit of a half-time debate going on. Who was the best? Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard or De Bruyne? Now, I'm going to give you my very honest opinion on this conversation here. If it's between Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard or De Bruyne, as good as De Bruyne is, he's not in the conversation. Because Frank Lampard, as a midfielder for Chelsea in the Premier League era, was unbelievable at scoring goals. And he had other strings to his bow, but he was fantastic. And he did it consistently in a side that was winning Premier League titles as well. So he did it at the top. And I think as English players, that's always the thing. You do get overhyped. As an English player, you're always going to get overhyped. But Lampard did deliver. Paul Scholes is probably one of the most technically gifted midfielders we've produced in this country in the last 30 to 40 years. His passing range was unbelievable. Intelligence and just overall quality is why people like Xavi and Iniesta always talk about him, or you always used to talk about him. And then Steven Gerrard was basically a Roy of the Rovers player. Liverpool were not very good. I always remember being at a barbecue when they beat West Ham in that FA Cup final, and they were basically going to lose, and he just scored that goal from nowhere. And he used to do that quite regularly for Liverpool. So I think that all three of them deserve to be in the conversation, and all three of them deserve to be in the conversation more than De Bruyne, who, whilst he's a fantastic player, I just don't think he has what those three players have. So my biased answer is Paul Scholes, 100%. It is. And I think there are two answers to this, because I think as a Man United fan, I can't look past Paul Scholes. I think he's just was a fantastic player. I almost feel he was a bit underrated and underused, certainly by England. John Joe says Scholes easy, longevity. It's 1-0 to Ajax. It's 1-0 to Ajax. It is 1-0 to Ajax. That means it's 1-0 to Ajax. Let me just have a quick look what's gone on here. 1-0 Ajax. Get in. If you're a Man United fan, you'll be happy with that. And it's Gravenberch who scores. Haven't seen it yet, but let me just tell you it is 1-0 to Ajax. Let's have a look what happens here. Oh, it's a lovely goal. Lovely goal. If it's Gravenberch, you'll know from my FIFA career mode, the enter striker is a midfielder, edge of the box, moves his feet and bends it in. He's going to be a cracking player and he gets older as well. Fantastic goal by him. Lovely link-up play and a lovely finish. Keeper can't do anything about it. It's just a lovely goal. And it's 1-0 to Ajax here. 1-0. Gravenberch. Ajax lead 1-0 after 23 minutes. Off to Bayern Munich, apparently. Very good player. It's a shame he's going to Bayern Munich because, as I said, there's a better league and it's the Premier League. So my biased opinion is that Paul Scholes wins the Gerrard and Lampard debate. My unbiased opinion is that, and the only reason I have a bit of an unbiased opinion is if I wasn't a United fan, wasn't a Liverpool fan, I wasn't a Chelsea fan, say I'm an Arsenal fan, and I need to take one of those players at my club, I'm getting Gerrard. Because the thing that Gerrard had that maybe Lampard and Scholes didn't have is that he proved he could do it in a team that wasn't that good consistently. And Lampard was in a very good team and Scholes was in a very good team. So if you want an unbiased opinion, I'd probably say Gerrard. But bias, I'm always going to go with Scholes. So there we go. But I thought I do think it's I lived through those times and they were all. I didn't like Gerrard and Lampard because I was a Man United fan. I didn't like them at all. But what I would always say in fairness is that the debate is valid because they were all English and they were all very good. And they were not overrated. They were all very, very good players. And that's why the debate used to rage on. You couldn't play all three of them together. I don't think you could play all... I think England's biggest problem is, one, you couldn't play all three of them together. You couldn't really play two of them together. I think Gerrard and Lampard in the same team was always a mistake as well. So, yes, I would go with that. What have you gone with? Well, we've got 36% going with Scholes. We've got 17% going with Lampard. We've got 28% going with Gerrard. And we've got 19% going with De Bruyne. So De Bruyne has picked Lampard at the moment, but I'm not so sure about that. So Ajax leading 1-0 at the moment against PSV. It's 0-0 at half-time between Chelsea and Palace. It's been a dreadful semi-final so far. Please do subscribe, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. We're very close to 651,000. We're only 10 subscribers away. 10 subscribers away. We're on 650,990 at the moment. So please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Let's see if we can hit 651,000. And English fans are so bad compared to Dutch fans, says Eloy. Okay, let's not start having those sort of conversations. We don't need to do that. But it's been a good game. Ajax and PSV is a much better game than the one we've watched between Palace and Chelsea so far. Three great players with no clear answer. In your opinion, Mark, who were their best midfield partners and which of these partnerships was the best, says Miad. Well, I don't know enough about Liverpool and Chelsea to tell you who Gerrard and Lampard's best partner was. I would say that Gerrard and Alonso was probably their best pair. Lampard and... trying to think back who Lampard would have played with. Would it have been Lampard and Makelele? Or was that not quite right? With Scholes... well, Scholes and Keane was the best. Yeah, Scholes and Keane was the best combination there. So, Scholes and Keane would win that one for me. Yeah. Ballack as well. Essien, yeah. I mean, SEN was fantastic. I'd have loved SEN to be at Manchester United. Ten Hag there with his little notepad. Likes to take his notes. Packed out. I mean, what's the capacity of this game between PSV and Ajax? It's not a Sunday public. I mean, people make it out like the Dutch league is pub football, don't they? I mean, there's a lot of support. I mean, I tell you what though, advantage for Ajax because PSV played Thursday night, didn't they? They had a very big game against Leicester on Thursday night, but they're on the attack here. PSV, little cross, well away. Go. Samir says English bias. Well, there sort of has to be an English bias when it's Lampard, Gerrard and Scholes. The capacity is 50,000, says Harjot. There you go. It's a shame though, because I mean the atmosphere is fantastic in this PSV game against Ajax in the cup final, the Dutch cup final. Ajax leading 1-0 at the moment. Fantastic atmosphere. Lovely sunny day in the Netherlands. Same in London. Fantastic atmosphere. I thought all the flags from the Palace fans was absolutely incredible, but the football's just not lived up to it. It's not been a very good game so far. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more in the second half, because I think the way this game's going between Chelsea and Palace, it'll be won by 1 goal. De Bruyne, Modric and Kroos poll suggestion, says Jemmy. And do you think Maguire will win a Ballon d'Or one day? Tiger clause. There's not many things that you can predict in life and be safe and sure. But Harry Maguire's 29. He's never winning a Ballon d'Or. I can tell you that for now. There's plenty of other players I can tell you that will never win a Ballon d'Or. Scott McTominay will never win a Ballon d'Or. Fred will never win a Ballon d'Or. I would argue that Bruno and Rashford won't win Ballon d'Ors, but there is a slim chance for them. There's no chance of that, no. The Netherlands would be the best country for a young aspiring coach to attain a footballing education, says Self. And prediction for the Fury fight. Well, it's got to be Fury. I'm doing a watch-along for that next Saturday night as well. If you're interested in that. Formula One's back next Sunday afternoon. I'm doing a watch-along for that. And then next Saturday night, I'm doing the Fury fight as well. So lots to get involved with on the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Sancho could win a Ballon d'Or. I mean, the thing is, winning a Ballon d'Or is very difficult. There's amazing players out there that never win it. Did you see the Ajax goal? I missed it, says Gwydion. Yes, it was Gravenberch on the edge of the box. Just bent it into the bottom corner. Lovely goal. PSV did have a goal chalked off for offside, and it was offside. Most underrated player in the Premier League? In my opinion, it's Bernardo Silva, says Fanbridge. Not a bad shout, and I don't disagree with you on that one. As I think another one is probably Fabinho. I think he's underrated. I actually think Son and Salah are underrated as well. I think as I've said before, I think if Son and Salah were French and Brazilian, they would get way more credit. Not that people don't think they're good players, but I don't think they get the credit for how good they are. Odegaard, I really didn't want anybody to mention Odegaard today because I feel that my reverse jinx has worked. It was only about a month ago I was saying Odegaard's better than Bruno, and then Arsenal have gone and lost 3 games in a row. And so, yeah, I feel like I've jinxed Odegaard. Sorry, not sorry. We need the points. But that game, Man United against Arsenal next Saturday lunchtime, I don't know which way that's going to go. For weeks I thought we would lose that game. I now think that Arsenal hate pressure, and we know what Arsenal can do under pressure. So I'm quite intrigued by that one. He plays for PSV and he's English, only 18. They bought him from Spurs last year. His name's Madiki, says Cameron Senior. There you go. Best Dutch Premier League player ever, Bergkamp for me, says Liam. Well, Van Nistelrooy was a very good player. Robin Van Persie as well. Van Persie, Van Nistelrooy, Bergkamp would probably be my 3. Unless I'm missing somebody glaringly obvious. I mean, I'm happy to do a poll on that. But I think they would probably be the three. Van der Sar's got to be given a shout as a goalkeeper as well, not just at Man United. He was at Fulham as well, wasn't he? Raban. Yeah, Stam as well. There are some good. Van Basten didn't play in the Premier League. Van Dijk, yeah, you can't miss out. You see, this is why I like the chat, because you start to get loads and loads of others. But yeah, you've probably got to put Van Dijk in there as well. But having said that, we are talking about Van Nistelrooy, who was ridiculously prolific. Van Persie, who was a good player at Arsenal and then a great player at Manchester United, winning us the league. Bergkamp as well was very, very good. Your thoughts on FA Cup winner getting a chance at the Champions League? Says Eric Palmer. Nah, I don't agree with that. I think that the Champions League, if you finish fourth in the Premier League, you've played 38 games to finish fourth. If you win the FA Cup, you might have had a draw like Man City, and you might have beaten like Rochdale and teams like that. I think fourth place is more deserving of a Champions League spot than cup football, to be honest. In arguably our second two great partnerships at United with Scholes and Carrick and Scholes and Keane, he's the common denominator and a constant for 20 years, says John Joe. It was fantastic. Scholes was a fantastic player, and it wasn't just about scoring goals with Scholes. Anyway, Crystal Palace are back onto the pitch here. Crystal Palace and Chelsea back on the pitch. And hi Mark, I love the channel. Have you ever watched rugby league? And if not, would you consider doing a new watch along for it? Says Rob Corkill. I don't really understand rugby league. I don't mind rugby union, but I don't really understand rugby league, Rob. It's a very northern thing, isn't it, rugby league? Salford, Wakefield, Huddersfield probably, Castleford. I'm trying to think of Wigan, St Helens. It's a very northern sport, isn't it? Are there any south teams that play rugby league, in fact? Mbappe or Haaland to win the Ballon d'Or first, says Beeson. Anyway, we've kicked off here for Chelsea and Palace. Yeah, I always loved it. I lived in Ireland for 3 years. Hurling, Gaelic football. You've got Australian football as well. All these sports that are just massive in these certain areas of the world or countries. It's great to see, but I don't understand any of them, to be honest. Pure ignorance, but Dwayne wants to do, can we do best adult performer? I wouldn't know any of them anyway. Exeter player as well. So I've got Ajax PSV on, and obviously we've got Chelsea Palace on as well. So we're doing a bit of a double watch along here, inadvertently. Could get extra time with Chelsea. Could get extra time and penalties. Some tasty tackles going in the PSV game. Ajax player down injured here. Can Chelsea get back into this game? Yes, because they're in it anyway. It's 0-0. Australian Rugby League is the best by far. State of origin, one of the best sporting events of the year, says Mike. There we go. Ain't messing about, Mike. What have you been up to this Easter, everybody? Anyway, we've just got a bit of a break here. I was talking to somebody on Friday about this, saying that when I think of Easter, there's just certain things I think of. Obviously, chocolate. The Office, the UK Office. I just think, I don't know, Queen, the band, and certain films like Master and Commander, The Greatest Showman, things like that. This makes me think of Easter. Whereas Christmas, it would be Home Alone and stuff like that. So, yeah, but obviously I've not been feeling great, so I've not been able to go out much. We had quite a few plans over Easter that we just had to cancel because I've been ill, and so I've been watching some films. I've watched some films, and I've been watching films that I wouldn't say new films. I've got, actually, talking about films, got a big reveal for you actually in a minute. Hi Mark, I'm sorry if you've already spoken about this, might have missed it, but is actually that true that Ten Hag wants Van Persie? He does, Dewell, he does. We'll be talking about it on the United Stand at 8 o'clock. Also some big transfer news on the United Stand at 8 o'clock, don't miss it. Really big transfer news. Do you remember Rhodes, myself? No, yes, Sam, I'm not an idiot. So, I've been watching some classic films over the weekend. Drive with Ryan Gosling, I watched on Friday night. Was it Friday night? Yeah, it was Friday night. And then last night, The Town with Ben Affleck in. What a cracking film that is. If you love Heat, or actually if you've not watched Heat, watch Heat with Pacino and De Niro. But watch The Town. Oh, what a cracking film that is. Still 0-0 Palace and Chelsea, and 1-0 to Ajax against PSV at the moment. Has says West Ham are trying to get Champions League football by winning the Europa League. I love that comment. It's almost like has figured that out and no one else has. West Ham are trying, don't tell anybody, but West Ham are trying to get in the Champions League by winning the Europa League. No one really knows about it. It's a bit of a secret. Yeah, they're right to focus on that, to be fair. Mark, are you doing any more driving with Goldbridge? Says Joel. Yeah. I do plan to, yes. Hi Mark, driving from LA to Phoenix, Liverpool fan, hoping for Crystal Palace to win. Keep up the good work, says Nathan. Thank you very much, Nathan. I never think about people around the world might be driving somewhere whilst watching. I said there was going to be a film exclusive. I read it today as well. If you haven't got to see Batman in the cinema, or you can't wait to see it again, it's out on rental release on the 19th, which I think is Tuesday. So you'll be able to rent it. I'm all for this. I think it's great. I know they did it with James Bond as well. They have these films in the cinema and then they basically put them out where you can pay like 15 quid to watch it at home as well. So it must be good for the film industry to do that. Rick, thank you very much for subscribing. Sorry for the super chat. Hi Mark, I was at the game yesterday and did a fan vlog which was a dream come true. Saw Pogba get booed, said it's had to end this way, says Daniel Kirk. Did you do a fan vlog with us, Daniel? Or did you do it with rivals? Do you ever watch your local team? Says, look, haven't been for a while, but shot from PSV straight at the keeper. James Bond's on Amazon Prime again now, is it? Is it? Oh, what? I might watch that as well. If it's on Amazon Prime now. I'm going to do, actually, talking about Amazon Prime, on Twitch, if you've got Amazon Prime, you can do a film watch-along with people who've got Amazon Prime, because Amazon own Twitch. So I did say when they put the Jaws films back on, because I hate sharks, I'll do a Jaws watch-along on Twitch. So if you've got Amazon Prime and you know about my Twitch channel, make sure you subscribe to it. But that's going to be coming up soon because they're all on there now. So a film watch-along. This has been something that people have been on about for a long time. Ten Hag is so dominant, says Pritam. It's just the way they play. Yeah. It is a very dominant style of football. We need a goal in this Chelsea Palace game. And the last thing Chelsea will want is extra time again, won't they? They've got a game against Arsenal on Wednesday. Arsenal will be praying for extra time here. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, and as a Spurs and United fan, I really need this game to get sorted in 90 minutes because Arsenal's game in hand is against Chelsea on Wednesday night at Stamford Bridge. But Arsenal have played one game this week. If this goes to extra time, Chelsea will have played extra time on Wednesday night, extra time on Sunday, and then have to play them. Driving with Goldbridge with Cal the Dragon, says Raz. I'll tell you what, how many penalties do you think he'd save from me? I reckon I'd score 5 out of 5. In fact, I think I'd score 10 out of 10. We should consider... I'm pretty good at penalties. It's a mental battle. If anyone saw my crossbar challenge at Clash Creators last summer, I won that. It's just pressure. Feed the pressure. He is a world-class keeper, James, but I mean, I might not be able to play high-end football, but I can play from the spot in that situation. Who's on the 8 p.m. show tonight, Yash? So big news on. Don't miss the 8 o'clock show tonight on the United Stand. We've got some big news to discuss, which is from a very good tier 1 blue tick source who I've spoken to before. You should know who it is. 8 o'clock tonight, and it's me, Adam, Kev, and Beth. I think tonight. I might be wrong on that, but I think so. Imagine if Crystal Palace had Gallagher. Well, you can't. What do you think about United against Liverpool on Tuesday? I think we'll get hammered. I think we'll get absolutely hammered. Mark, please play in the Sidemen charity match, says Gwydion. Have they got one? I'd have to be invited, wouldn't I? Mark 101 is 20 today. Happy birthday. The Corner Flag, thanks for the super chat. Have you watched The Terror on Amazon? Must watch. If it's the series, I have, and it's amazing. Mister. Yeah, it is. What Easter egg did you get? I got an arrow, mint arrow. What's your agent fee for Seb when he goes pro? Says Ryan. I don't think Seb will end up playing football. Really, he is playing football at the moment. I can hear him in the garden, but I don't think he'll end up doing it. Ajax 2-0 apparently, not on mine. I'm probably a little bit behind, but it might be now. It is. I don't know who scores it. It's a lovely shot into the bottom corner. (2-0) to Ajax. Lovely shot from the edge of the box. PSV will find it difficult now. We're only, well, just right before half time as well. Right before half time, and Ajax make it 2-0. I can't pronounce his name. Mazraoui, isn't it? Or something like that. I think he's the lad who's going. He's going to Bayern Munich as well, isn't he? Both these lads are going to Bayern Munich. Lovely goal. Really good goal. Smacks it in low from about 30 yards. Lovely hit. I think both the scorers are going to Bayern. Yeah, I'm right. I am right. Yeah, the series is one of the best shows in a long time, mister. I watched The Terror. If that's on Amazon Prime, is it on Amazon Prime? Let us know, mister. But I watched The Terror about a year ago. It's a brilliant series. You should watch it. Yeah, if it's on Amazon Prime, give it a watch. It's called The Terror. Brilliant. One of the best things I've seen in a long time. I watched it at the start of last year. It was brilliant. They're looking for an offside here in the Ajax goal. And they've ruled it out. Oh, that is such a shame. That is such a shame. They got disallowed. It's such a shame because it's from the build-up. I mean, it is offside, but it is a big shame because it was a lovely goal. Players like Bruno Gomes are real talents, or that United missed out on, says Jay. Thing about Bruno Gomes is that if you actually look at something like a stat site like Y-Scout or something like that, and you put in your parameter filters, he is a very obvious player to buy in relation to how much he passes the ball, successful defensive actions, everything like that. So that offside is ridiculous for Ajax. I mean, how? I'm telling you now, right, the offside is a pass that goes into somebody's foot about 7 seconds before the shot. I don't think you should be going back that far. It's not 2-0 to Ajax, it's 1-0 to Ajax. The goal's been ruled out. This is a crap semi-final. Yeah, I did the Van vlog with the United Stand, says Daniel Kirk. Tell me the title of it, Daniel. I'll give it a watch. I haven't watched any of the vlogs last night because I just felt so ill after the watch-along. I've just not looked at any of the vlogs, which is really rude of me, I know, but I normally do read them. Watch them. Please do subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. You're all very welcome. Havertz is playing Ben, but much the same for Chelsea. They're, I think Palace is just playing on the counter, aren't they? You could see Palace winning this 1-0 because they're playing on the counter. Let's get rid of the poll. Scholes won it. Has says it feels like Palace are going to win. Tell you one of the best series I'm watching at the moment, and it's really hard to get in the UK. And episode 1, I was like, oh, I don't really think I'll like this, but after episode 1, it just gets better and better. People in America probably watch it. Yellowstone, I love it. What a great series that is! Absolutely love it. Brilliant, well constructed characters that are not, they're meant to be good, but they're not. They have bad things as well, which I think was always my thing about Game of Thrones. The characters in that, the good guys, had bad things about them. Goldbridge versus Joel Glazer, WWE 2K 2020, says Cold Disc. Depends if Joel Glazer's in there to download. I turned this off after 10. Has anything happened? Says Vicious. No. And if Palace go through, will you be more scared of Liverpool winning the treble? Says Connor T. I think if Palace go through, Liverpool will win the FA Cup. Yeah, well, they'll be favourites to win the FA Cup. But who do you think has got the sexiest hair out of Man United? Ten Hag or Pep? In my opinion, it's Ten Hag, says Cameron. Thanks for the super chat there, Cameron. It's those riveting sorts of debates that make me want to go live and continue chats. It's called Ronaldo, GOAT, Kirk, Svan Blog. Right, Daniel, I'm going to watch that. Ronaldo, GOAT. I'd love United to get something. Goal! Oh, he's missed. He's missed it. Koyate for Crystal Palace. I don't know whether he was going to give a foul, but he's headed it wide. No, it wouldn't have been a foul. It's a big chance from a corner. He's got up well. I think he's shouldered it. It's hit his shoulder and not his head. Could have been a chance there. Close for Palace from a corner, and it's just gone wide. There's a Pratt behind the goal going, yes! Needs to understand football. There's a bloke next to him saying, no, you've got to put it in the net. Ajax are winning 1-0. It's about to be half-time in that. Sunday roast or fish and chips, says 58 Go. I do like fish and chips, but I've gone off fish and chips more in my older age, to be honest. Did you like Jamie Lannister? I did. Andre. Like if you're on YouTube and you watch certain things, you get prompted to watch other things. I've obviously watched a few best bits of Game of Thrones because I'm always getting on my timeline on YouTube. I'm always getting clips of Game of Thrones, and I do like watching them because they're like 3 or 4 minutes long, and it saves you having to watch back full episodes, which are always on Sky Atlantic. Ajax might be scoring here. Let's have a look. No, it's not. They haven't. It's half time and it's 1-0 to Ajax at half time. Could have been 2-0, probably should have been 2-0, but it's not. It's 1-0 to Ajax at half time. Don't know why people are saying it's 2 when it's not. So you've exposed yourself there as trolls. So we'll just go through the chat and block all of them. Bear with. Easy work. Yeah, it's still 0-0 between Chelsea and Palace. And it's 1-0 to Ajax at half-time, and it is half-time in that game at the moment. So half an hour to go at Wembley. Still 0-0, Chelsea and Palace. Nice ball out wide. Here's Aspilicueta. Cuts inside. Cross to the back post. Headed away by Palace. Good play by Palace defensively there. Well, I said it might go to extra time. It might well go to extra time. Don't necessarily want it to go to extra time. Would rather prep for the 8 o'clock show and have some lunch, but have some tea. That Ajax PSV half was amazing to watch, says Julian. Yeah, it's just very fast-paced, isn't it? Very fast-paced football. That's what it's all about. It's fast-paced. Yeah, 8 o'clock. Yeah, some big news on the United stand at 8 o'clock tonight. Make sure you tune in. Very good opening topic is all I'm going to say. And we've got half an hour to go here. And it's not been a very good FA Cup semi-final at all. Considering that game yesterday was between Liverpool and Man City. I think Chelsea... I think Palace have had a very distinct game plan here, and that is to just try and be what's the word, tight and counter-attack, and if it works for them, it works for them. Interesting with the FA Cup final this year, Saturday the 14th of May. It's not the last game of the season. There's still, I think there's a Premier, well yeah, the FA Cup final is not the last game of the season. I don't know why that is, but it's not the last game of the season. There's Premier League fixtures after the FA Cup final this year. But yeah, Palace have played very defensive, very deep line as well. We noticed that in the first couple of minutes. It was a very deep line from Palace, and it needed a goal from Chelsea this game. And it might come now. It is a goal by Chelsea. It's Loftus-Cheek. What timing. He's bloody jinxed Palace there. But it is a goal. It needed a goal. It needs the game to open up. And we 100% need this. 100% need it. As a spectacle for the neutral, it's been bloody boring. And Loftus-Cheek hammers it into the back of the net from the edge of the box. Came on for Kovacic, and he's got the big goal here. As we were just talking about, Palace have obviously set up to play a very deep line and hit on the break. And it's been very, very effective up until this point. But he hammers it in. It actually catches the defect. It's a bit of a deflection on it. It comes to him on the edge of the box, Loftus-Cheek, and he smacks it, and it hits the back of the Palace defender and deflects into the top corner. The keeper's not going to save it. I don't know whether he would have saved it anyway, to be fair. He was certainly diving for it. And Anthony Taylor can't stop that. And it's 1-0 to Chelsea. And actually, the game needed that. It did need that. Perfect time for it as well. Palace will open up now. We should get a good last 25 minutes. Goldbridge the jinxter, says Trickster. So 1-0 to Chelsea. 25 minutes to go. Palace will have to open up. They'd had a good chance themselves from the corner, but it's been... Yeah, that we won't see it anymore, but that defensive line is so deep. It's been so deep. Deserved goal for Chelsea? Well, they've probably been the more progressive side. Liverpool would prefer somebody else, I'm sure. Palace. It's funny when some fans say City didn't want Ronaldo. 15 goals in the league in a crap team. Pep could use his goals, especially in a game like yesterday. I don't know what that noise. Sound like Gary Neville. The Ronaldo was wanted by Man City, and he would have done very well at Man City. Oh, jog on, Sro. You know when you're typing now, you're typing to yourself, and we won't be able to see it. I'm a Chelsea fan, and that was a screamer, says I'm Chaz. Tyrese says it's 1-0 to Ajax, Mark. Mate, if you tune into the show, you'd know I'm watching Ajax versus PSV, so I already know. How many goals do you think Ronaldo would have scored at Man City? Easily 30. Yeah, easily 30. Liverpool need a Crystal Palace win, says Kashi. Well, I don't know why, because I watched Palace play against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't play like this at all. I don't know whether we've got any Palace fans or anybody who wants to comment on it, but I'm quite disappointed with Crystal Palace. The way they played against Arsenal the other week was fantastic. High press, high energy. They've obviously gone with a tactical approach to this game where it's like, let's sit deep and hit on the break. And I think with Chelsea having played such a tough game on Wednesday, maybe they should have gone for him a little bit more. I noticed when Maguire got booed was all media talked about. It happens to Pogba, they don't care. Is that just English bias, says Daniel Kirk? It is, yeah. And that's what I was moaning about on the United stand this morning. I don't really care if people want to boo Paul Pogba. I don't really care if people want Paul Pogba to leave. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But where it really resonated with me is that Maguire gets booed and you've got the Spurs Twitter account and media asking people like Brendan Rodgers in his press conference about it and like outrage that a player gets booed. 2 weeks later, Man United fans are booing Paul Pogba, who's not the worst player on the pitch, and no one says a word. It's just hypocrisy and double standards, and I think you know sometimes you have to call it out. Otherwise, you're just a sheep to the media, aren't you? So that was my point. Anywho, it's 1-0 to Ajax at half time in the PSV game, which is the Dutch Cup final, and it's 1-0 to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. Palace need to open up a little bit now. Do you believe in a jinx? Says Eamon Kelly. I don't believe in a jinx. I do seem to jinx a lot of things, but I don't believe in it. Hi Mark, love United stand. If you come to Sweden, then come up to the northern part above the Arctic Circle. Here the sun never sets in the summer, or feel how minus 45 degrees feels like in the winter, says JT69. Thank you very much. That must be an interesting way to live, where the sun never sets. I remember watching a film. I think Pacino was in it, and Robin Williams, the late great Robin Williams, and I can't remember what it was called. I think that was set in a place that was like that, where the sun never goes down. Palace have got to go for this now. Should open up the game yet. Benteke's on, and he's given a foul. Anthony Taylor there. Will you be watching The Northman? It looks quite good. It was called Insomnia, that film. Yeah, I think I've only ever seen it once. It was a murder mystery, wasn't it? Ian says, what happened to Benteke and Edouard? They started on the bench. Next watch along, says George. On this channel, it will be Chelsea against Arsenal on Wednesday night. In general, Liverpool against United on Tuesday night at Anfield. It's going to be a big game, that is. Not in the sense that I think United can get a result, but look, of course I want United to beat Liverpool at Anfield. Of course I want that. But also, it could have a big part to play in our top four races, not in our top four hopes, which I think are slim anyway. But also, if we could get a result, it massively dents Liverpool winning the title. I mean, this is a game that United teams of the past that get it would go and... I mean, look, we've also given... Imagine if the title gets won by goal difference. United have already given 5 goals up. So, James says Ten Hag announcement tomorrow. No. And the reason for that is that he's still got a league title to play for. Schlup's just come off for Palace and MacArthur's just come off as well. They've got to go for it now. 20 minutes to go. Oh, Benteke and Olise on. What's for tea, Mark? I've already had a roast dinner for lunch, so I'll probably just have a packet of crisps and some sandwich or something like that. Haaland hasn't decided on his future yet, PJ. I was guessing I'd probably say he will go to Man City, but he's not decided yet. Arsenal are doing a documentary, Barnaby. Very good point. Very good point. It's written in the stars, million miles away. Message for the man Oh, the reasons come and go, but I will never change, 'cause I'm on my way. That was a Sky ad. That was Sky Sports, wasn't it? That was Sky Sports. Super Sunday, wasn't it when Ford sponsored it or something like that? Palace on the attack. Nice little ball. Mendy was going to come and he didn't. Zaha's got it. Eze on the edge. Palace going for it now. The game's opened up more. Who do you think will get promoted, Mark? Says Lucas. Fulham, Bournemouth, and then take your pick. F1 watch along next week. Yes, Kyle. Goldbridge. Well, yeah. It's funny actually. I took Seb out for a walk just before this live watch along, and he said to me, "Did you used to be a rock and roller when you were younger?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "What sort of songs did you sing?" And I said, "Wow, I used to sing this one. I live my life in the city, but there's no easy way out. Tonight, I'm a rock and roll star." And he went, "Yeah, I'm going to do that when I'm older. And I'm going to put my hand in the air when I do it. And I'm going to go, we built this city on rock and roll." I thought, I wouldn't mind him being a rock and roller. Havertz. I always think, well, you want your kid to be a footballer, don't you? But I actually thought if he wants to be, I'd love it if he was in a band. I was watching the Oasis stuff on BBC Two last night. I'd love it. I'd love it if he was in a band. It'd be great. I think it's one of the greatest things you can do. Get people to sing your songs. Cup of tea and biscuits. That was my song. And it was shit. Here we go. 2-0. Lovely goal. That's game over. It's Mason Mount. Werner to Mount. Chelsea. You see, this is probably why Crystal Palace did sit back, because Chelsea are picking them off now. And maybe we're a little bit too critical of Palace's approach to this game, because the minute they open up. And it's like a Tesco 24-hour petrol station. Pick your pump and take your fuel. And Chelsea are on a journey now to the FA Cup final, which will also be played here. So you can walk. But lovely goal. Mason Mount. Well, at least we're not going to get extra time. Hey up, what's going on here? Pick your pump and swivel on it, says Manny Plays. Lukaku's just come on. Lukaku is on. 2-0 to Chelsea. 15 minutes to go. Hi Mark. If you had to choose, who would you rate the highest out of Carrick, Fabregas, David Silva or Essien? Says Luke Mason. Good question. I think Carrick was massively underrated. So David Silva was a fantastic player for Man City. I think Essien for Chelsea and Fabregas for Arsenal. But I do think I'd put Carrick ahead of Fabregas. No, maybe not an ability, but just longevity as well. But anyway, it's 2-0 to Chelsea. I feel a bit sorry for Palace, especially their fans. They generated such a great atmosphere at the start. I think they've obviously had a game plan here to play quite defensively, and then obviously they've conceded the goal. They've had to open up, and then Chelsea have scored as well. Is Maguire the most bantered player in the league? Says Paul Fernandez. Was a corner for Palace here. Little flick. Tedder! Oh my God. What a golden opportunity on the back post. They should have scored there. Anderson. He's free on the back post. It's flicked to him on the back post. All he's got to do is head it down. And he heads it over. Should have scored. That's like a tap-in. Oh, what a chance. There's no way Mendy's saving that and he heads it over the bar. Was Jordi Cruyff any good? Says Bound for the reload. No, not really. He was just average, to be honest with you. Hi, Mark. If you had to choose, who would you... I've done that one. Big chance. Palace should have scored that. Would have opened it up lovely for the last 10 minutes, that would. What a miss, says Shadow. Anyway, Ajax PSV is back up and running. FIFA will be back tomorrow, Alex, yeah, in the afternoon. Do I think Man United will finish above Arsenal? No. Well, actually, they might do. Depends what happens next week. I don't think United will finish ahead of Spurs. Arsenal are the big unknown at the moment, aren't they, really? Those empty corporate seats at Wembley annoy me, says Yaku. Yeah, they'll all be in there drinking the champagne, won't they? Getting their money's worth. Corporate football. It's on ESPN Netherlands, James Smith, if you want to watch Ajax versus PSV. Mark, can you settle a debate I'm having with a co-worker? He's saying Irwin was miles above Giggs ever was. Your thoughts, as Colin O'Connor. He was a fantastic player, Dennis Irwin, but he was a fullback and Ryan Giggs was a winger, so I don't know that you can compare that. PSV Ajax game is really, really impressive how end to end it is. Thoughts on Mason Mount, says Joshua. I like Mason Mount. A bit like Declan Rice. I thought they were a little bit overrated because they were English about 2 years ago. And then I started to watch them, and I think they're both really good players. United are, until further notice, is capping. I don't know what that means, so I can't really say what it is. So it's looking like it's going to be a Liverpool-Chelsea FA Cup final on May the 14th. Which I think means Man United's game against Chelsea will get moved, won't it? I think we're meant to be playing them that. PSV 1-1. On the back post. It is 1-1. Should have been 2. Well, it shouldn't have been 2-0 because it was offside, but it is 1-1 now. No, it won't be. He's offside. Oh no, the player who heads it wasn't offside, so it won't be. All these fucking offsides and stuff are a joke, aren't they? When the cross came in, he was offside, but he's not the one who heads it. I remember the days when Butland was meant to be the future number 1 for England, a decent keeper, but never reached the heights that was expected, says Luke Mason. Well, this is a great point, Luke, because people get overrated, don't they? People do get overrated, like, oh, they're going to be this, they're going to be that. I mean, you think about the volume of... Basically, there was a time where if you were English and you were playing in the Premier League and you were 20, you're going to be a superstar. Whereas you think about the French League or the German League or the Italian League or the Spanish League, there's probably loads of 20-year-olds that they just go, well, maybe they will, maybe they won't. I think it's 2-1 to PSV now. It is. What is going on? 2-1 PSV. Unbelievable, Jeff. Unbelievable. What is going on? I can't believe it. Ajax with the comeback here. 2-1. Ten Hag can't believe it. It's a bad ball out, and they just leave themselves exposed. Don't know how the keeper gets beat from here. Is he just blindsided? Yeah, he can't see it till it's too late. It's a lovely finish. Yeah, he ain't saving that, to be fair. Bottom corner. Keeper's not saving that. 2-1. Gakpo with the goal. Cody Gakpo. Ten Hag out, says Tommy. 2-1 to PSV in the space of a couple of minutes. Still got 7 minutes to go in the Chelsea Palace game. But Chelsea are cruising into the FA Cup final here. I need to stretch. So do bloody Ajax. What you doing, lads? You're playing shite. Anthony's not playing for Ajax, and he's left Haller out as well. Do I like Pirates of the Caribbean? I think that's probably a bit of an Eastery thing to watch, Andre, isn't it? I think I've watched the first one. Not really my cup of tea, to be honest. They don't make any more, do they? Chelsea will be in their 5th FA Cup final in 6 seasons, says Puskas. Interesting there. Interesting. Well, look, I look forward to that. We'll do the FA Cup final. I was trying to figure out when it will take place. Let's have a quick look. Liverpool, have they got their fixtures up for May? No, they'll have to rearrange that game. I know Man United were meant to be playing Chelsea on the 15th, but that will obviously get moved now. Do you want to see Mount and Rice together in Chelsea, or you want Rice to go elsewhere? Do you think Rice will fit in if new owner buy him, says Pawan? Well, I think the Chelsea game will get moved through to next week. I'm pretty sure, someone in the chat will let me know, I'm pretty sure Man United will play Chelsea the week after next now. Midweek, when the Champions League's on, we'll be playing Chelsea. So it'll clash with the Champions League. I'm pretty sure that was the plan, because United won't be playing on that weekend now. But Chelsea are definitely going through. Declan Rice wants to go to Chelsea. It's whether Chelsea want Declan Rice. Opinions on Blind at Man United, says Rob. I quite liked Daley Blind at Manchester United. I thought he was a really good utility player that could play a number of positions. There was at times at left back I thought he was really good. I was always quite surprised that he went back to Ajax. I thought he was better than that. Nothing wrong with playing for Ajax, but we bought him from Ajax. I thought he might have gone to Italy or something like that. But he's a very clever footballer, Daley Blind, and I just think if he'd have had an extra yard of pace, he would have been a super footballer. 4 minutes to go at Wembley. 2-0 to Chelsea. They'll be very happy, Chelsea, won't they? It's not been a demolition job. It's been a professional job. Van Nistelrooy is going to be the new coach of PSV, yes. Mark, how did you get Sean Dyche? I can't find him in the creator thing on WWE. I just searched on the hashtag Dyche. I didn't put Sean, I just put Dyche. There's a few, I think there's 3 or 4. People need to make a few more. I'll download them if people make them. I could do with there needs to be a who would I like to do on wrestling? Who else would I like to do? McTominay would be good. Just do all the United players. How come Onana's not in goal for Ajax? I thought Onana was the goalkeeper for Ajax. Just realised that. Gary Barlow. Gary Neville. Gary Neville needs to be made on bloody wrestling. If you are somebody who likes WWE 2K22, make Gary Neville. That would be great. Gordon Ramsay's on it already. I've got him downloaded. Can Ajax get back into this game? I'm sure they will do. And they have! 2-2! Ajax! I told you, they don't piss about. 2-2. Ajax. Get in. No messing about. It's not 3-1, it's 2-2, you prat. You don't take a goal off. Was that Klassen who scored? I think it's Klassen who's just scored there. Anyway, a minute to go in the Chelsea Palace game. Out of topic, I was wondering what PC setup you're using. Is there a video of you showing your gear and stuff? Love the content. No, there isn't. The big. Oh, Chelsea nearly made it 3, Ziyech. I at the moment, I'm not using a computer at all. I'm literally doing it on my phone. No, I'm not really. I'm using a laptop. It's an Asus ROG gaming laptop. So I sort of switch between the two. So I've got a laptop in front of me now, which has got my camera on it, above it, on a tower. And then I've got a screen there. I've got a screen there, and I've got a laptop screen there. So at any one time I could be playing gaming and watching 2 screens as well, or watching 3 things. So I should do a video really, shouldn't I? It's not a goal for Ajax. What happened? Disallowed again. Fuck off. 2 goals disallowed for Ajax. What did it get disallowed for? Who's your favourite English referee, Mark? I don't like any of them, Mohammed, you're right. I like referees that I don't know the name of. Ajax have had 2 goals disallowed here. And they're losing 2-1 with half an hour to go. I didn't see why it got called off, but it must have been an offside. Ajax will score though, because they'll have more energy than PSV. Hit the post. Tadic has just hit the post. It won't finish 2-1, that's for sure. 3 minutes added on. Chelsea with the cross. Lukaku will get there next week. It was an offside again for Ajax, why their second goal didn't get given. Just find myself laughing at Lukaku for being so bad, says Vicious Bin Man. Haller's on the bench, Azad. I don't know why. Probably... Oh, what a shot that was by Tadic as well. Foot of the post. Deserved a goal. Lovely hit. And that's the final whistle in the Chelsea game. It's 2-0 to Chelsea. Big win for Chelsea. Their last chance of silverware this season is going to be the FA Cup. Very convincing in a very unconvincing game, really. I think Crystal Palace just tried to play defensive. As soon as Loftus-Cheek scores, they've got to open up a bit, and then Chelsea get the second game and kill the game. Maybe Palace could have approached it in a different way. Maybe they could have done, but they didn't. And ultimately, they've ended up losing. And it'll be a Chelsea versus Liverpool final. Are you going to stay live for the Ajax game? I don't know. I'm probably going to go get something to eat, to be honest. Quite hungry. I'm going to keep watching it, but I'll probably just pop in it, eat something. Because I haven't got the score on the screen or anything like that. So it was a bit of a pain to do that. We are on the United Stand at 8 o'clock tonight. Got some big news for you at 8 o'clock. Make sure you tune in to the United Stand at 8 o'clock. And thanks everyone for watching the show here. We, of course, are going to be live on Wednesday night for Chelsea against Arsenal. Lots of content for you as ever. So thanks everyone for watching. And I will speak to you all at 8 o'clock on the United Stand. Thanks for watching. Speak to you in a bit.